everyone, and welcome to New York Comic Con, day 4 here in 2021. We're actually back after 2 years of absence. I am joined by the one and only Philip Kennedy Johnson. Philip, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing great. So, as another Philip, who spells his name correctly with 2 L's, we are in a short, distinguished club, and I thank you for holding on to the keys to the House of L.
Oh, well, nice work there. I like that. Nice,
Yeah.
Excellent segue. Hands off to you.
This is take 2, so that was a much smoother attempt there, according to Komodo.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, so as our listeners and viewers know, I'm a very big fan of Superman, and I can be very particular with the character. I've been very impressed with what you've done with Action Comics, with Superman, and all the House of L stuff, and it seems like you've really added an element of fantasy to it. What's been your inspiration for your take on the character?
I really wanted to just put the super in Superman and see how epic we can go. You know, like with the character, both with the scale of the story we're going to tell. We've seen a lot recently of Superman in the context of his supporting cast, in the context of Metropolis and Smallville, and the individuals that make his life on Earth what it is, and that's all super awesome. I love seeing all the character development that we've gotten from the other characters. But I kind of wanted to see Superman in the context of a larger story, in the context of the multiverse, of the omniverse, and what Superman means to other worlds. And I also wanted to take a corner of the DC universe that I feel like has been a little underserved and really blow it out big. And that's, in this case, it's War World. I want to see a War World that's not just a metal ball with guns sticking out of it. I want to see a place where people live, like an actual place with history and mythology and all these different cultures that have come together. And a Mongol is truly scary, somebody that sets himself apart from the other big muscly alien villains that we've seen, like Darkseid and Thanos. I want a Mongol that is really truly threatening and different from all the others, and I feel like we're doing that now in War World Saga.
Yes, and one thing that's really impressive to me is how succinct and how much weight you put behind your narration. Think of the second issue in particular, where you're showing Superman just get beat down over and over, and he talks about breaking the shackles of every slave on War World. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're juxtaposing it with a great African-American soldier who has faced all kinds of cruelty returning from war and stuff, and it was deeply impactful, just marvelous writing.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
Where did the inspiration for that come from?
A few places. So I have an issue at home called Superman 400, and that's an anthology from the 80s that meant a lot to me. It was my first exposure to Superman as like high art, kind of.
Yeah.
It was this amazing anthology with a who's who list of creators in it, and I had all these different glimpses of what Superman could be like in the future, or where his descendants might end up, or what the residents of Earth would be like with his influence. It just meant so much to me, and I just made my imagination run wild. And Future State was such a great opportunity to kind of pay homage to that. So that issue was a huge inspiration for Future State. It was a 2-issue story, and I knew I wanted each issue to be kind of together. They make up my mission statement on who Superman is. The first issue has been about what Superman means to us, and then the second issue is what we mean to him. The inspiration for so in the second issue we see where he actually is, what he's been doing. It's kind of a big tease for where Action Comics is going to go this year. But while we're seeing him in action, we're also reading this op-ed article that Clark Kent wrote during his lifetime here, and it's an article that I feel like Clark Kent would have written. Something about it was a personal interest piece about this homeless man who died, that many of us would regard as a failure based on what he has to show for his life, but Superman holds him in the highest regard. And he's a veteran and a father and a proponent of civil rights and civil responsibility. And it's based in part on heroes in my life, like Medgar Evers, the great civil rights leader who was murdered. Was a huge part of the Edgar Waters character that his article is about, and also a couple of real life veterans and homeless people that I've known in my life that led extraordinary lives. People who, that meant a lot to me that most people would just kind of blow by in the street, not paying any attention to, but that, they're still worthy of notice and worthy of admiration. And I wanted to kind of pay tribute to them in this story.
I hear people say that they think Superman is a challenging character to write, or he's boring, or anything like that. It was that issue and every other issue of the Superman mythos that you've done through the several titles that have made me realize I feel like you have a very strong grasp on the character. And I wonder, did the character mean a lot to you growing up?
Oh yeah, I don't find Superman hard to write at all, and it's part of it. I think is that he's a father in the books now, and I, as a father of a young son, also it just makes it so easy to relate to that perspective. But also, just I grew up just caring so much about that character, having such a clear vision in my head of who Superman is. That makes it honestly not difficult at all to write that guy. I love that I have the opportunity to show people the version of Superman that I see, that I've always seen. So yeah, I find it, a pretty easy character to write. There's so much about him I want to say.
My all-time favorite Superman story is All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, because I feel like it's just a giant love letter to not only comics, but to Superman and his mythos as well. And in that, and in other Grant Morrison stories, is kind of a concept of like the League of Supermen, which span over, millennia of years across the multiverse. And I feel like you've delved deeper into that with House of L. And you've put like a fantasy spin on that in a way. Beyond issue 400, what other issues have kind of informed your run on Superman so far?
There's a single issue that meant a lot to me as a kid. That captured my imagination at least. Annual number 10. I forget what year that was from, but there's a big image on the cover of Superman holding up a sword with the sigil of the House of L on it. And I just thought that was cool as hell. And the story that followed was not what I imagined looking at that story, at the cover. It's really just the cover image that just captured me. And I've always wanted to see Superman in the context of like a Frank Frazetta painting. Like I want to see a Frazetta like pulpy cover, but instead of the characters being, Conan or Sonya or all these different, like the Bogmen of wherever, I want to see, Superman and the Authority and Mongol and, those kind of characters in that kind of like combat, and that kind of, just that mission statement alone kind of makes it easy to come up with this whole story that would follow, because why would Superman ever hold a weapon of war? The idea of Superman holding a sword kind of doesn't make sense, because that's a weapon you would kill with. So telling the story of how Superman would get to that place to actually hold a sword and shield, that's a whole story just kind of flows from that image.
I don't know how he got there.
Yeah, exactly. How does Superman hold a sword? Like how do we get to a place where that makes sense? And the whole story kind of comes out of that. So even that single image alone is very inspirational.
Do you feel? I promise we'll get off Superman in a minute, but I could talk about him all day with you. Do you feel in 2021 with a myriad of social issues, the pandemic, that we need someone like Superman more now than ever, or do you kind of feel like fictional characters aren't as important as like real life figures? What's your feeling on that?
I think fictional people characters like Superman, can have an enormous effect. An enormous impact. I think it's right now more than ever. It's so important to see characters. People who have absolute power, who have not been corrupted by it. I want to see the powers. Superman's power set should never be the point of an issue. It should be. It should only be there to illustrate how incorruptible he is. I want to see Superman wield his power in a way that demonstrates his absolute compassion and humility and devotion to all of us, and like how he sets himself below everyone else. How he is by definition more than us, but sees himself as less than us, and gives everything for us. I want to believe that that's achievable. That we can empower someone the way that we have Superman, and have him be the best of us in spite of that.
Yeah, there's a philosopher named Pico Mirandella. He's a Renaissance philosopher who would always talk about how human beings are great imitators. Uh, they see fish, they want to swim. They see birds, they want to fly. So why not aspire to be angels, to be the best of us? And I feel that's what Superman is. He's teaching us to try to be the best of us ourselves on a giant cosmic level, perhaps.
Yeah.
I could talk about Superman all day with you, but I also want to kind of spin out a little bit before we wrap up, because I also don't want to be selfish with your time. You are a jack of all trades. You are a multi-instrumentalist. You are in the military. And, of course, you are an acclaimed writer. Those are a lot of different... that's a lot of things to keep you busy, safe to say. When in your life, when you're writing comics, do those aspects of your life influence what you're writing? I certainly see some of that in Alien with the military aspect, but I'm not going to assume. Or do you find that you have to kind of compartmentalize everything for your own sanity's sake?
Yeah, I heard, let's see, Ed Brubaker one time spoke about like somebody asking, let's see, somebody asked him or someone he knew, like, do you think I should I try to put a lot of myself, should I consciously try to put a lot of myself in my writing or my own life experiences or whatever? And Brubaker's answer was no, because you're going to do that anyway. Like your work will reflect who you are, whether you want it to or not, basically. So like with Superman, I'm tapping into my need to believe that we can be both powerful and also good, and my own, psycho levels of love for my own son. Like my son and I are so close, we're just like best friends, and I want to always be that close to them. It's like show him how much I love him all the time. And I try to put that. I mean, I don't even have to actively try to put it in my book, because it just for Superman it kind of comes out.
Yeah.
For Alien, I wanted my. I think my experience in the military does color Alien, like just the military culture stuff that kind of comes through when the Weyland-Yutani defense agents and crews are talking, and like you kind of get there's like this military shorthand that kind of comes out. So that's colored how I write that story. And also, as far as the fatherhood stuff, Gabriel Cruz represents the dark side of that coin, where he's like a cautionary tale, like where a father-son relationship where everything went as wrong as it can go.
It's like the worst case scenario in your own head.
He's like what I'm afraid of,
Yeah.
Last Sons of America is a story about human trafficking, a world in which human trafficking becomes legit. Like something I've spent a lot of time doing volunteer work, anti-human trafficking. That's something I care a lot about. So that was a story I wanted to tell. Warlords of Appalachia is a story about the political divisions in this country. It came out right before the 2016 election, and is this big like what if kind of story about America after the Second American Civil War. And so yeah, I mean, I think my experiences definitely color my work, whether I want it to or not.
So there's no compartmentalizing life experience, I suppose.
Sure.
Philip, I want to really thank you for your time. It's actually been really meaningful and insightful. I could talk to you all day about this stuff.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything you'd like to promote before we wrap up? Tell
Let's
people
see.
where we can find you.
Yeah, well, I have philipkennedyjohnson.com, where you can look and find all my upcoming work and my work that's already out there. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook under my full name, Instagram under my full name with underscores. Let's see, Twitter at Philip K. Johnson, 2 L's in Philip. And yeah, let's see, this month I have a short story coming out in Red Sonja, Black, White, and Red. Another one with Gotham City Villains. I have a Ra's al Ghul story with the great Riccardo Federici in there, in which I show my love of chess. There's like a chess game between Batman and Ra's is kind of like the underpinning for the story. I'm very proud of it. November, you're going to see Batman, Superman, and the Authority. It's a special double-sized issue that I did with Ben Templesmith and Trevor Harrison.
Yeah.
And Action Comics and Alien are coming out monthly. This month sees the first issue of the Warworld saga, and I am incredibly excited about that. So please check it out. It's going to be Daniel Samperi's best work on the series so far, and we're all very proud of it.
It's an exciting time to be Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Thank you.
Yes.
Lots happening.
That's right. And lots happening here for us, but that's where it ends right now. I've been Phil with Phil. I don't know if you go by Phil. That was presumptuous.
Philip usually, but whatever.
Yeah. For the Comics Pals, Make sure you look for us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to our YouTube page where you can like, share, and subscribe, ring the bell. And make sure you listen to our show that drops every Monday wherever your podcasts are sold. Take care until next time, guys.